Welcome back to Midwest Access. I'm meteorologist Sarah Gannon, enjoying some really beautiful weather out there today. And oh boy, the reduction in the dew point levels, a lot more comfortable to enjoy some nice conditions out there. Live look from your Lewis Donato live camera. We're enjoying those temperatures back into those lower and mid 80s. So not only temperature wise, has it been refreshing and a lot more comfortable than the 90s, but dew points, they are in the 60s, mid 60s here in the Med City and off towards the Riverside. A little bit further west, we are seeing those dew points though kind of creeping up towards those upper 60s, even some lower 70s. So there is still a touch of humidity, but it's a lot more comfortable than what it was yesterday and over the weekend. Heading into the rest of tonight, looking to enjoy some more sunshine, temperatures gradually cooling back into more of those lower 80s and upper 70s as we head towards 8 o'clock tonight. But things changing, especially looking ahead to the late week. Let's talk about the next big thing. We are bringing back some rain chances to the area, looking at late Thursday, extending into Friday. So looking at more scattered to widespread rain and thunderstorm chances for the area on Friday. So you certainly will need that umbrella handy. Aside from Thursday night into Friday, looking at a pretty dry forecast. So we'll take our bout of rainfall quite happily. There is a chance, though, we could be looking at some heavy rainfall. Looking at that excessive rainfall outlook, this is for Thursday, so this would be as rain starts to enter the western half of the viewing area in a level 2 out of a level 4 threat there, or risk for excessive rainfall. Then we look at Friday, the entire viewing area in that level 2 out of a level 4 risk. So heavy rainfall will be a concern for the area. And looking at some of those totals, especially south of I-90, we could be looking at some totals upwards of about 2 inches or so. But area-wide here, southern Minnesota, northern Iowa, looking at about 1 to 2 inches possible, maybe some localized higher pockets, totals higher than that 2-inch mark. So some decent rainfall on the way for the region. And as we look ahead to tomorrow, tracking more sunshine, temperatures a hair warmer than today, but staying mainly in those mid to upper 80s. We'll be looking there at those wet conditions here for Friday as temperatures cool back into the 70s, but settling into a seasonal pattern through the weekend and into next week with temps in the lower 80s and plenty of sunshine to help us dry out from those Friday shower activities.
We will get to your 5 o'clock headlines in just a moment. First, though, another check on the weather here on Midwest Access.
We have been enjoying some a bit more comfortable conditions here today, but more heat tomorrow as we track highs in the mid to upper 80s. Keeping an eye, though, towards Thursday night into Friday, some rain chances back in the forecast. We'll talk about all those details. Chief Meteorologist Nick Jansen is coming up next at 5. And we are coming off of what has been a hot and humid stretch of weather here in southern Minnesota and northern Iowa. Looking forward to the rest of this week and into the weekend. Looking to still see some humidity for the area, but the good news is dew points more towards the low to mid 60s. So a little sticky, but a lot more bearable than the upper 70s and even low 80s we saw just a couple days ago. The latest forecast details are coming up on that upcoming rain chance. We have been looking forward to that break in the humidity, and we saw that today. More of the same in the coming days. However, our focus now shifting to the end of the week. Let's talk about the next big thing. Rain back in the forecast. I'm sure a welcome sight for many of us here. However, not without a few concerns. We're looking to see rainfall timing between Thursday night into Friday. A bit of a wet Friday for the region, and certainly some soaking conditions. You will need all the rain gear on tap for the end of this week. The concern comes in with the threat for some heavy rainfall. Looking at the excessive rainfall outlook, a level 2 out of a level 4 threat. This is for Thursday. So as storms arrive and into the overnight, mainly for southwestern Minnesota, northwestern Iowa, this does stretch as far east as Highway 52. So really areas along and west of I-35 seeing that impact for Thursday night. Then we look at that excessive rainfall shifting further east into Friday. So this would include areas along I-35 and to the east into Wisconsin as well. So monitoring that concern for some heavy rainfall on the way. In terms of rainfall amounts, I think a lot of us could be looking at anywhere from, say, 1 to 2 inches of rainfall when all is said and done. Maybe some isolated pockets upwards of 3 inches possible. I think the heaviest of that rain could be staying along and south of the I-90 corridor. So monitoring things pretty closely. We need the rainfall, but we don't need all of this rain at one time. When we see that excessive rainfall outlook, upwards of a 2 or higher, we have that concern maybe for the possibility of some potential flooding, flash flooding when we see rainfall amounts, especially with some higher rainfall rates. So monitoring things closely here for the end of the week. Temperatures tomorrow sitting into those mid to upper 80s, maybe a chance at some 90s returning for the Mankato area over towards New Ulm, St. James. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast for Mankato. Staying pretty hot here the next couple of days, bringing in those rain showers later Thursday, extending into Friday. Pretty nice this weekend. Here's a look at that 10-day forecast for the Rochester area. We are keeping an eye on that rain opportunity for Thursday night into Friday. Temps take a quick dip back into the 70s, rebounding to some seasonal levels in the lower 80s this weekend and into next week.
We could use a little bit of rain in the area.
Yes, we could.
All right. Thank you, Sarah.
We continue to keep a close eye on what's in store for the late week, tracking some upcoming rain chances. Looking forward to your Wednesday forecast. No rain on the horizon tomorrow. We are looking forward to more summer conditions as high temperatures return to the upper 80s for southern Minnesota and northern Iowa. Plenty of sun on the way too. A few intermittent clouds are expected throughout the day as well. Gearing up though for those upcoming rain chances by the end of the week. What you need to know in your first alert forecast is coming up.
Still ahead in your news at 9, Grant Park gets a major upgrade as crews approach the finish line.
We are keeping an eye on a little more heat for our Wednesday, but preparing for the late week as we track some heavy rainfall through the area. Those first alert forecast details are coming up.
Meteorologist Sarah Gannon joins us live from the weather patio. Sarah, what are you tracking for the rest of this evening?
Well, hey there, Olivia. The rest of this evening looking pretty quiet for us here in southern Minnesota and northern Iowa. That trend continuing it through your Wednesday. However, things changing late Thursday and into Friday. Let's recap some of those high temperatures from today. A bit of relief from the high heat and humidity that we've seen over the weekend and even yesterday. Highs today climbing towards those mid 60s. So still above average, still very summer-like, but looking forward to the end of the week, Thursday night into Friday. Keeping an eye on rain conditions, tracking some upcoming shower and thunderstorm opportunities for the area, but that may bring with it some heavy rainfall. No rain concerns for your Thursday. Instead, another hot summer day. Temperatures looking to range from the mid 80s to approaching that 90 mark towards New Ulm and Mankato tomorrow afternoon. Plenty of sun on the way as well. We are keeping an eye though on that late week rain chance. Those details are ahead in your first alert weather. And we are gearing up for more sunshine and more summer temperatures for your Wednesday. Looking ahead to tomorrow's outlook, we'll see high temperatures in the mid 80s, upwards of near 90 in the Mankato area tomorrow afternoon. Keeping an eye though on the late week as we track some upcoming rain chances for the region. Those latest first alert details are next. We have been keeping an eye on the heat and humidity, and now we're looking forward to some rain chances returning to the region. Tracking the next big thing as we look ahead to the late week. Rain chances returning to the forecast late Thursday into Friday. I would suggest getting that rain gear handy as we transition into the late week. A bit of a soaker here for our Friday. You'll be needing that umbrella, putting it to good use throughout most of the day. Rain chances, though, staying confined to the end of the week as the weekend and into next week, looking pretty dry and quiet. However, there is concern for some heavy rainfall throughout southern Minnesota and northern Iowa between Thursday night and Friday. This is a look at our excessive rainfall outlook for Thursday. Notice southern Minnesota, northern Iowa, back towards South Dakota, stretching as far east as the Highway 52 corridor in a level 2 out of a level 4 risk for excessive rainfall. That threat then shifting further east by Friday as we look at the I-35 region into portions of western and central Wisconsin, staying in that level 2 threat as well. So majority of the KDDC viewing area staying under that excessive rainfall outlook, that level 2 threat between Thursday night and Friday. So there may be some concern by the end of the week for some possible flooding, localized flooding, flash flooding may be possible, as considering some of the past couple situations that we've seen here in the area. Looking at rainfall amounts, a decent rainfall expected for the area. Notice we could be trending anywhere towards an inch, maybe upwards of 2 inches on the high side, possibly even some localized higher amounts, upwards of 3 inches. And again, this is where we look to bring in that concern for heavy rainfall, that excessive rainfall outlook, and maybe that threat for even some localized flooding. Still fine-tuning some of those specific details here of the forecast, but in general, right now we're looking at a lot of that heavier rainfall staying towards the I-90 corridor and further south into portions of central Iowa. So monitoring the situation here for the end of the week very closely. Tomorrow, your Wednesday, there is no concern for rain. What we will see is summer weather continuing with us. We'll see high temperatures staying towards the mid to upper 80s east of I-35, jumping towards the upper 80s, even approaching 90 towards New Ulm and Mankato areas for west of the I-35 region. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast for Mankato. Keeping an eye on those light week rain chances as we transition into a bit more seasonal trend there for the weekend and next week. 10-day forecast for the Rochester area. Similar story, staying very summer like here the next 2 days. Thursday night into Friday, tracking that rainfall. Some temps dipping back to the 70s for highs there on Friday. The weekend, though, into next week looking very comfortable, very seasonal, low 80s, plenty of sunshine, so an opportunity to dry out and hoping that that rainfall will be very beneficial for the area.
Certainly much more comfortable. Thank you.
Here's one more look at that 10-day forecast as we track more summer warmth here for your Wednesday and into Thursday. But Thursday night into Friday, tracking our next rain chance for the area, looking to see some good moisture back in the area, especially throughout the day on Friday. You'll want that rain gear handy throughout the day. Temperatures also taking a brief dip back into the 70s. Things drying up, though, heading into this weekend and into next week as we look forward to a lot more sunshine and check out those temps, low 80s, seasonal for this time of the year. So big focus here as we transition towards the late week is going to be those upcoming rain chance. There is a threat, though, for some heavy rainfall. So monitoring things closely, hoping that we don't have a concern for potential flooding. But given the last couple systems that we've seen that have that excessive rainfall outlook over us, there has been some flooding and localized flash flooding too. So fingers crossed we don't see that by the end of the week, but keeping an eye and preparing for the possibility of that existing.
We need the rain in the area, but certainly hoping that things do not become severe.
Correct.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
It was another warm summer-like day, but hey, high temperatures into the mid-80s. A little bit more comfortable than the 90s we've been seeing the last few days. So temperatures today roughly about 5 degrees or so above normal. Heading into tomorrow, kind of a repeat performance. We'll be tracking more mid-80s, possibly even some upper 80s sneaking into parts of southern Minnesota and northern Iowa tomorrow. Some nice sunshine, a few clouds intermittent throughout the day. The focus, though, shifting to Friday as we track the threat for some shower and thunderstorm activity. Some heavy rainfall at play for the region, too. Monitoring those concerns. We are going to be watching for a bit more of a wet day, looking at rain to be trending down out of the area towards that dinner time frame. So I would say keep the rain gear handy for Friday.
All right. Thank you, Sarah.
And we have been talking quite a bit the last few days about the high humidity. You may have noticed today a little bit better. Looking forward to the rest of the week into the weekend, tracking dew points in the low to mid 60s. Still a bit sticky out there, but those 60s a lot more comfortable than the 70s and 80s that we've seen in the last few days. Let's talk more about those first look forecast details on our rain chances for the late week. That's next.
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist Sarah Gannon.
We've been keeping an eye on the heat and humidity here the last few days, and we finally started to notice a bit of a change today. A little cooler, high temperatures into those mid-80s, roughly about 5 degrees or so below average. But I did dig into the archive, and I wanted to show you just how high those dew points climbed here during our hot stretch of weather. The dew points around 74 at the Rochester International Airport Saturday, Sunday climbing to 79, and on Monday there's a 2-hour window at the Rochester International Airport where we had dew points right about 80 to 81 degrees. So just uncomfortable, downright uncomfortable here the last few days. Today we saw dew points into the 60s, which was some great improvement. Looking ahead for the midweek, late week, and extending into the weekend, we are tracking dew points into the lower to mid 60s. So still in that sticky category, but I'm sure you noticed the 60s, a lot more comfortable than those dew points that we saw in the upper 70s and even low 80s here just a couple days ago. Things changing, though, as we shift into the late week. We're tracking our next big thing, and that is going to be some rain chances. We need the rain. We'll take that. However, there are a few concerns with this rain that we're tracking here for late Friday and late Thursday, excuse me, into Friday. Past that, the weekend of next week looking at pretty dry. So the concern that we have for rainfall is going to be the threat for some heavy rainfall. This is a look at our excessive rainfall outlook. Areas through southern, southwestern, and northwestern Iowa, stretching back towards South Dakota, and as far east as the Highway 52 corridor. For Thursday into Thursday night, we have a level 2 out of level 4 risk for excessive rainfall. That threat for heavy rainfall then shifts further east as we look ahead to Friday, including the entire KDDC viewing area in the Highway 35 region, further east into Wisconsin, there along the I-90 corridor. So looking at the concern there for heavy rainfall Thursday nights and into Friday. This is a sampling of what we could be looking at rainfall-wise for totals. Anywhere from around an inch, maybe upwards of 2 inches is possible here in southern Minnesota and northern Iowa, maybe even some localized higher amounts, possibly upwards of 3 inches possible. The heaviest of that rain looking to stay along and south of I-90 at this point in time. So there may be some concern if we can see heavy rainfall over certain continued areas like the last couple of systems, maybe some watching out for some possible flash flooding concerns. So monitoring Friday very closely. No rain concerns though for your Wednesday as we track highs there into those mid to upper 80s. Some nice sunshine, intermittent cloud cover. Things getting soggy though heading into Friday, but shaping up very nicely just in time for the weekend and into next week with those seasonal temps in the lower 80s.
And overall good weather for the Olmsted County Fair this week.
Yeah, the reduction in that heat and humidity really makes a difference, especially for the livestock and the exhibitors.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, Sarah.
That'd be funny. Sorry, I'm not a football person, guys. But hey, let's take a look at that 10-day forecast because everyone wins a little bit here in this forecast. We are tracking more summer warmth in the next few days, looking at some mid-80s for those high temperatures. Things changing though late Friday, Thursday night into Friday as we track some much needed, much anticipated rainfall in the area. However, there is concern for some heavy rainfall. And if things kind of play out similar to how those last couple rounds of heavy rainfall have, we may have to watch out for some possible flooding concerns. So monitoring the forecast here very closely the next couple of days. The weekend, though, looking pretty fantastic. More sunshine, temperatures very seasonal there into the low 80s. The rest of next week looking to continue on with that same trend for the area. But no, Brock, I enjoy your jokes. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad someone does. Thank you.
I'm always giggling, whether it's at the desk here or back in the Weather Center. I'm always giggling
Usually you guys
at your jokes.
are laughing at me because you think I'm funny and not that I am funny.
Yeah, I didn't find the joke funny. I'm from where some people will call behind the cheddar curtain, so I'm a Packer fan. So go
Okay.
Pack, go.
No pack, no.
Oh.